I suppose clustering for me is a very important part of the future, because whenever I become a parish priest, I will be part of a clustered reality. So the shape of it and what's going to happen within it will be very important for me.
There's much vitality, much desire to take this the next step. The question is, how do we do that?
Recently, the Irish Church, the Bishops of Ireland, have produced a magnificent document called the National Directory for Catechesis, or the National Directory, the National Plan for faith formation, basically, in the country. And I suppose one of the aspirations of this document is that people would become, in the faith formation process, they would become involved in it at all levels of society in Ireland.
In my conversations with pastoral councils in preparation for clustering in the Diocese of Armagh, I came across a lot of concern and a lot of anxiety among certain people about what's going to happen to them in the future and what's going to happen to their identity and so forth. And I feel that this process has tremendous opportunities for the involvement of lay people.
I suppose a lot of you will know at the moment that the age profile of many of our priests has become quite elderly, and that, if you like to put it very simply, the death rate of priests is not being matched by the birth rate of priests. So in the next few years we're going to see a dramatic decline in the number of active diocesan priests within our diocese. Already we have a significant number of our priests who are over 75 years of age and still in active ministry. That's something that was not sustainable in the long run. And the number of younger men, for example, under the age of 40 is actually quite small. So that necessitates changes at that level. We have to restructure in some way to recognise that reality.
More and more, religious education seems to be moving out of the schools into the parishes, and I believe this is a challenge for us, and it's also a good thing in the sense that it challenges people to take more ownership in the parish for the preparation of their children in baptism, first penance, first communion and confirmation. And I think that we need to begin there and begin small but think big.
Clustering, resourcing parishes, new parish structures and ministries. I suppose one of the positives for me would be that it's a great opportunity for everyone to be involved in the development of our church in the diocese.
I think there's a lot of anxiety around the notion of clustering and rationalisation.
And I see a number of benefits to clustering parishes. First of all, I think it would give the people of God the great opportunity of being involved in a shared way in the ministry of the church. And secondly, at a financial level, it would benefit our parishes very much, because whereas I couldn't afford to employ somebody full-time at a proper salary to work in my parish, I would be able to afford part of a salary, and if we had three parishes working together, then we could employ a person to work full-time in ministry.
I think there's also a tension around the notion of clustering, and that, I suppose, arises from a realisation that this is a matter of urgency. We have no choice. We must pursue this. And so I think maybe there's an impatience to begin the process and to move it forward and to ensure that something happens. While at the same time, I think there's also a recognition that we need to have widespread consultation with priests and with people. And I would like to think that that consultation will also be accompanied by some process of prayerful discernment, so that we're also listening to the Holy Spirit. So there's a tension, I think, between the desire to be reflective and at the same time to be proactive. And I think underpinning all of that, there is the need to address the question of evangelization, which is crucial.
I think that the main help that we can take this the next step, perhaps, is to try to find someone for the parish priest that he could feel comfortable with, that he would be at ease with, and somebody that could, perhaps in the parish, sit down with him and say, how can we together help this process so that it's myself and you together, and it's not all on your shoulders. And
perhaps a more important reality, and one that gives me great hope, is that we are rediscovering the fundamental importance of baptism. Baptism is the one sacrament that we all share, and it's out of that sacrament that each of us is called to ministry.
And I believe that there's a lot of adults out there that are starved in faith knowledge and belief. They have no sense of the gospel and also the teachings of the church, so they are literally starved, having a history in education and primary schools in preparation for children and First Communion and Confirmation. I'm aware that more and more the responsibility for that will be in parishes, so we need to train people, catechists, who will prepare children for First Communion and also parents for baptism.
There was a time in our church where unfortunately we linked ministry only to the sacrament of ordination or to those who had professed religious vows, and that did a disservice to the dignity of baptism. We're all called to service and to ministry by virtue of baptism, and in a way the church rediscovered that at the end of the Second Vatican Council. And the reality of that is what we're being called to at the moment.
That we would have in Ireland a faith development coordinator with the entire country, with the staff, with a national office, and then each diocese would have a faith development officer, and then each parish and clusters of parishes would have faith development coordinators or officers, whatever they would be called, and that these would be paid positions.
I see it as an opportunity for lay people to become involved with this sort of work. I see that what's happening in Armagh Diocese as being a real opportunity for people to get involved and to take a part, their baptismal calling in the future of their church.